I'm late. Did we have some people drop off?
No, we're good. All right, we're officially recording here. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Virtual Closeness, a Krishna Cove experience. It's my great honor and pleasure to have His Grace Jivananda Das Vanachari here. He will be giving lecture tonight. And the title is The Other Side of Birth and Death. We have a few people with us joining us today. Dr. Chris, Jesse, Prabhu, and Carmen, thank you guys for joining us. And I'm sure others will join us here shortly. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Guru Dev, without further ado, it's all yours.
Hare Krishna. Greetings to everyone. Thank you for joining. I know some of you are busy. Govinda Madhava is very busy right now. He's got projects, and it's so nice for you to take time and associate with the devotees. I very much appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
So yeah, the title tonight is The Other Side of Birth and Death. So this is I'm trying to think of the word. It's a topic for the human being, and not just any human being. The other side of birth and death is not thought of or discussed by the animals. They don't have the brain mass. They don't have the capacity. So in the human body, along with the human body, we have that capacity to consider and to ponder what is on the other side. What's waiting for me? Is it good? Is it bad? What is it? Can I make sure that when I get on the other side, things are good for me, better for me? These are human being topics. These are not, as I said, not the topics of the animals. Now, as we see in the human species, many human beings don't even ponder this topic. A lot of people say, nobody really knows. I don't know if you've heard that. I've heard that quite often. A lot of people say, well, nobody really knows. So what somebody is saying when I hear that, what they're saying to me is they don't know. Since I don't know, I don't think anybody knows. So it takes a very civilized type of person to start to ponder seriously what's on the other side of birth and death. So now some people say, well, I know what's on the other side of birth, because here I am, I'm on this side of it. But what they don't realize is that birth and death go hand in hand. Not only that, but after you finish the birth and death scenario linked together, because anybody can understand if there's birth, there will be death, because nobody lives forever. So, but what they don't understand, very few people can understand, is that on the other side of death, there's another birth. So a lot of people seem to think that on the other side of death, once I transcend death, then I immediately go to the good place. And I think everybody, or so many different people, let's just say there are many, many, many different conceptions of what that might be. Hey, Radha Sundari is joining us. Hare Krishna, Radha Sundari. Hri Hri. What, did you kick her out of the house? She out wandering around?
She's busy running some errands and stuff like that. And yeah, so
well, it's good that she's doing something. So yeah, I can remember going to funerals in my lifetime. And sometimes I go to funerals of people who were pretty rotten people. I mean, they really were. Everybody knew. Everybody at the funeral knew this was a rotten person. miserable person. And they never did any good for anybody. And so somebody, the minister, would generally say at some point or other, he's gone to a better place. So why is it they always go to a better place? What is that place? And is that all you have to do is to die? You die and you go to a better place? So it's wishful thinking, speculation. We don't really know. I'm not really sure. I always wondered that, even before I became a devotee. How can you say this guy has gone to a better place? I cannot believe it. If there is a worse place, he has to be there. So let's talk about this, the other side of birth and death. And you'll see when I get to the verse where I get the title. So it's not something I made up. You will see, I'm in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, verses 39 and 40. This is Lord Kapila. Imam lokam tatai vanum atmanam ubaya inam atmanam anuye cheha ye raya pasam obriha Vishvidya sarvan anyamscha mameva vishvato mukam Vajanti ananyaya bhaktya anrityor atiparaye. Translation, Lord Kapila says, thus the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this world with wealth, children, cattle, home, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death. So, Lord Kapila is saying, thus the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service. Well, before I go on, it sounds like he's asking a whole lot of us, isn't it? He's asking unflinching devotional service. What does he mean by that? Does he mean that you have to be standing with your deities 24 hours a day, offering ghee lamp or agarbatti or prasadam? Does it mean you have to be at the temple cleaning bird cages or sweeping the floor? What is he talking about? He's talking about unflinching devotional service. How on earth can you do that? Unflinching means 24/7. So does anybody have any suggestion? What is Lord Kapila talking about? Does he mean that I just go and just always find something at the temple to do? Anybody? What do you think?
I think he means that any activity that we perform, that we always remember Krishna while we do those activities.
Well, how do we do that, though? How do we remember Krishna?
By offering everything we do to him with love.
Bingo, bullseye.
Yeah.
We did not rehearse this, everyone else. He just knows this because I've hammered him with it for years. So, exactly right. Unflinching devotional service. That means that what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, and what I'm doing is an offering to the Supreme Lord. It doesn't mean that I quit my job and go hang at the temple and just be there to do whatever. In Srila Prabhupada's lifetime, at one point, his godbrothers, not too long after he was initiated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, they said to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, why doesn't Abi Babu move into the temple? You know, he's a grihasta. Why doesn't he just give that up and move into the temple? And he can manage the temple. They wanted him to become the temple president of, I think, I forget the location. I think it might have been Calcutta, but I'm not positive about that. And so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta paused for a moment and he said, no, he's rightly situated now. At that time, Srila Prabhupada was a businessman. He had a business. I mean, anybody that has had a business or who has known somebody who has their own business, having your own business just because you have your own business doesn't mean it's easy street. It's, if you're looking for an easier way to make money, easier and requiring less of your time, get a job and help somebody achieve their dream. But if you have a dream that you want to achieve, a business that you want to become successful, you'll work at it a lot more than all the people that work for you. I can remember in businesses that I've worked for, when it came time to go home, 5 o'clock in the evening, it was like very noisy outside my office doors. People out there, people are moving around and rustling. And I was usually busy and I'd always wonder what is going on out there. Then I realized, oh, it's 5 o'clock, everyone's leaving. So I knew though that everyone's gonna leave except for the owner of the business and his wife. They're gonna be there. They're not on the clock. So Prabhupada had a business, which a business takes all of you. So Prabhupada is developing this business and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, leave him be. He's rightly situated as a grihasta. Hare Krishna, Stephanie. Good to see you, Stephanie. So, even as he's working his business, he's working so hard to stay afloat in his business. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, his guru, knew that this is devotional service because he's doing it as an offering to me and to Krishna. You see, it's not that while I'm at work or while I'm somewhere doing something, I'm not doing devotional service. I have to go to the temple to do devotional service. This is Kanishta understanding. Kanishta means God is in the temple, but he's not anywhere else. Okay? The Madhyama sees that God is everywhere, you see. So we have to have that understanding that devotional service is something in the heart, like love. A man loves his wife not just when he's at home with her, but he loves her when he's at work. He loves her when he's on his way to work. He loves her when he's on a business trip, on his way back from the business trip. The love doesn't stop just because he's not there. So this is what Lord Kapil is talking about when he's talking about unflinching devotional service. Thus the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, he gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets. In other words, he's not working for the better life, or on the other side of death, he's not thinking if I perform this loving devotional service that I get a reward of heaven. Things will get really sweet and wonderful. That's not his plan. So he's not doing his activities to be promoted to the heavenly planets. Most people in religions are. Most people are looking for that reward. That is extremely pious. Although Lord Kapila is going to point out that it's not first class. Okay? They think it's first class. That's okay. Don't disturb them. Let them work to go to heaven. They may not know what they're going to get when they get there, or they may not know what they want from heaven. All they know is it'll be better than here, and they won't have to die again. So he's not looking to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this material world with wealth. So this person, this devotee with unflinching devotional service, he's not looking to become happy in this material world with wealth. Does that mean that he's going to never have any money or not work to do better? Not at all. Many devotees in our disciplic succession were very wealthy people. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a wealthy man. So to have wealth or to pursue wealth doesn't mean that you're departing from unflinching devotional service. It's if this wealth is related with your body. In other words, I want wealth so that I can enjoy a better bed, a better house, better wine, better car, a better spouse, or whatever, you see. Many people want wealth for fame, because if I get fame, I can get adoration, I can get distinction. So my prophet will give me fame, adoration, and distinction. That is not unflinching devotional service. Many people work very hard, many devotees work very hard, because they know that the more I make, the more I can use in the service of Krishna. They may use it to build something in the temple, or build the temple itself, or launch some preaching program, distribute books, whatever. You see. So that doesn't mean that you don't aspire for wealth. It means you don't aspire for wealth in relationship with your body. You don't aspire for children just for the sake of having children. You want to make devotee children. That's unflinching devotional service. If you have children, you can make them devotees. You can have as many children as you want. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had 12. Prabhupada had 5. So it's like Tamal Krishna Maharaj told me one time when one of his disciples had a baby. He said, there's more than one way to make devotees. So, and that's true. So if I want children in relationship with my body, then that's not unflinching devotional service. Or if I want cattle or home or anything in relationship with my body, that is not unflinching. That's flinching devotional service if it's devotional at all. If someone can have unflinching devotional service, Lord Kapila says, I take him to the other side of birth and death, personally. So Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. I will deliver you. I personally. Krishna has so much outreach to the living entity. So many times again and again, he tells us, I will deliver you. All I want is for you to give me unflinching devotional service. Now, that's a big order if you're a materialist. If I'm a materialist, unflinching devotional service, I can't guarantee that. But if I'm a materialist, I can start towards unflinching devotional service. In the meantime, in the beginning, my devotional service may flinch a little bit. You see, I may go to the temple and I might be very gung-ho. And I'm really drinking in the kirtan and I'm really having a great time. And then later on, I might go out and just do something completely for my own gratification. So my devotional service may have a flinch from time to time in the beginning. But if we're sincere and we try hard, and if we really have that desire to ultimately reach the platform of unflinching devotional service, Krishna will help us. We can go there. But to go there, we have to want to go there. If we don't want to go there yet, that's okay. I'm not criticizing. Go at the proper pace. Don't go too fast. but don't go too slow. Keep your development steady. Prabhupada says in the purport, unflinching devotional service, as described in these two verses, means engaging oneself in full Krishna consciousness or devotional service, accepting the Supreme Lord as the all-in-all. Since the Supreme Lord is all-inclusive, if anyone worships him with unflinching faith, he has automatically achieved all other opulences and performed all other duties. Let me pause there. Let's see what he's talking about. If anyone worships him with unflinching faith, he's automatically achieved all the other opulences and performed all other duties. In other words, when you reach that position of unflinching faith, you've conquered all of the yoga systems. You've performed everything. There is nothing left that you have to do. It's not that once you get to the position of unflinching devotional service, that now you have to go and you have to learn how to do this or learn how to do that. No, that's the end result. That is the goal. It's like if you get your PhD, well, if you learn trigonometry, you've already learned what 2 and 2 is. You've learned basic math. So trigonometry includes basic math. You see, unflinching devotional service includes all the lesser worships or attempts to worship the Supreme Lord. Since the Supreme Lord is all-inclusive, if anyone worships him with unflinching faith. Now, unflinching faith, that's an interesting statement there. Unflinching faith. In the beginning, when we become devotees, it's like I was talking about unflinching devotional service. Our faith is like that too. In the beginning, we have, before we meet the devotees, we have absolute faith in Maya. If I get out and work, if I educate myself, get a great job, then I'll get money, I'll meet the right mate, and we'll have 2.3 children and have a house in the suburbs and a nice BMW and live happily ever after. So I have faith in the material energy. If I work hard, this is America, I'll do it. All right, then we somehow or other, we get a little tired of just chasing that dream and no other dream. If we're so fortunate to meet a devotee of Krishna, we'll start to develop some faith in Guru and Krishna. So now we enter into the area of mixed faith, because I still have faith in the material energy, but I'm developing faith in Guru and Krishna. So I'm in that area of mixed faith. It's flinching. It's not unflinching yet. So as time goes by, my faith starts to grow in Krishna and Guru. And look what happens to my faith in the material energy. It starts to diminish. As your faith grows in God, your faith in the material energy diminishes. If your faith in the material energy is not diminishing, then your faith in Krishna is not increasing, because one pushes the other out. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
See? It's like if you pour water on the fire, you're gaining water, but you're losing fire. So as our faith grows, and you may not even notice it, that your faith in the illusory material energy starts to diminish. You start to see the man behind the curtain. So the Lord promises herein that he takes his devotee to the other side of birth and death. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended that one who aspires to go beyond birth and death should have no material possessions. Wow. Does that mean we should throw everything out the window and just live under a different tree every night? No. What about if your material possessions are transformed into spiritual possessions. You know? So you may have a bookcase and it's full of knickknacks, meaningless knickknacks that maybe look pretty and they're artistic. Then you become a devotee. Somehow or other, those things disappear, and you've got Prabhupada's books there, and maybe Gaur Nitai, and maybe even Tulsi Devi. So now, all of your possessions, because you're using your life for devotional service to Guru and Krishna, all of your possessions, all of your life becomes spiritual. So even your car that takes you back and forth to work or back and forth to the store. You have to go to the store to buy sabji for the deities. Why do you have to go get boga? You have to do so many things. So going to the store, going to work, whatever, that is also spiritual activity. So your car is not a material possession anymore. It is a spiritual possession. Prabhupada goes on, this means that one should not try to be happy in this world or be promoted to the heavenly world, nor should he try for material wealth, children, houses, or cattle. Trying to be happy in this material world. What he's talking about is we're not going to be happy if we depend on the material world or material things or material activities to give us happiness. It'll come, we'll have it for a while, and then it'll go. There's peaks and valleys. This peaking and valleying is going to happen all of your life. Even after you become a devotee, there will be peaks and valleys. There will be times when you'll feel like you're making so much progress and life is really going so well. Then there will be times when there'll be great challenges. But you're still happy. You're still happy because you're a devotee and you have devotee association. You have your mission. You're simply having some challenges. It's like a general. He may have a mission to win the war, and there may be more distractions or more challenges than he planned for. But it doesn't mean that he gets sad. If he's anything of a leader, he realizes, I have to get smarter. I have to work harder to achieve my mission. This is true if you're going to be successful in business. It's true if you're going to be successful in family life. It's not heard. Life is not going to be a bed of roses. There was an old country and western song back in the 70s. I never promised you a rose garden. I beg your pardon. I never promised you a rose garden. I can't remember the rest of the song, and I'm glad. But yeah, I think that was a husband or a wife singing to a husband or a wife that, I beg your pardon. I never promised you a rose garden. You're not going to get one. If someone promises you that life is going to be a walk in the park, don't walk away from them. Run from them because they're misleading you. It's not. There will be challenges. You see, the difference is the devotee has means to deal with challenges. And just because you get older and the years go by more and more, doesn't mean the challenges won't be there. Why is this going to happen? Why do you think Krishna lets the challenges come to us? Does anybody want to offer?
To remember him.
Exactly. That's a bullseye, Stephanie. To remember him. You see, if it turned out to be a rose garden, when you became a devotee, we may get lackadaisical and a little lazy and easily forget Krishna. Who needs Krishna now that everything is beautiful, everything is wonderful? So Krishna will give you these challenges because he likes it when you turn to him. when you turn to him and say, Krishna, you're all I have. You're all I want. And the devotee's not even hitting Krishna up. You know, gee whiz, Krishna, I'm being such a good devotee. I can't wait until I get liberated, because that's the tab. That's what I want. That's the payment that I want for loving you and being your devoted servant. No, that's tainted love. That's not what Krishna's looking for. This means that no one should try to be happy in this material world or promote it to the heavenly world, nor should he try for material wealth, children, houses, or cattle. Material wealth will come. Children will come. Houses or cattle, that will come. We all have karma. We have karma. We don't have to artificially beat ourselves up to get more and more. And if we do that, we become a servant of Maya. Prabhupada goes on, how liberation is perceptibly achieved by a pure devotee and what the symptoms are have been explained. For the conditioned soul, there are two statuses of living. One status is in the present life, and the other status is our preparation for the next life. Now think about what he's saying. One status of living is our status in the present life. What kind of person are you? What is your direction? What is your plan of action? How are you executing it? What is your destination? What is your desire? You see, what are you working toward? What is your ultimate dream? What do you expect? So that's one status. The other is our preparation for the next life. Therein is a separation between the devotees and the non-devotees. Or let's say the first class devotees and the lesser class devotees. A devotee or a religious man may be saying, well, I'm preparing for the afterlife because I want to go to heaven. Why do I want to go to heaven? Because things are really going to be great. So that's pious. As Prabhupada's going to explain here in this purport, that's not the situation. That's not the thinking of the pure devotee. Prabhupada goes on, if I'm in the mode of goodness, then I may be preparing for promotion to the higher planets. I'm living in the mode of goodness. I want to go to heavenly planets. If I'm in the mode of passion, then I shall remain here in a society where activity is very prominent. If I'm in the mode of passion, I just want more and more and more. In my next birth, I'll probably be right here, struggling to get what I want, with everyone else that's struggling to get what they want, to get ahead, you know? And if I'm in the mode of ignorance, I may be degraded to animal life or a lower grade of human life. But for a devotee, there is no concern for this life or for the next life, because in any life, he does not desire elevation in material prosperity or a high grade or a low grade life. He prays to the Lord, my dear Lord, it does not matter where I am born, but let me be born even as an ant in the house of a devotee. A pure devotee does not pray to the Lord for liberation from this material bondage. Actually, the pure devotee never thinks that he is fit for liberation. Wow, this is a lot to talk about here. So the devotee is not asking Krishna for liberation. He's saying, my dear Lord, it doesn't matter where I'm born. I'm not asking you for that. So I'm in this life. My process in this, my status in this life is worshiping you, developing unflinching faith in you. And my status in my preparation for the next life is that I want to be your devotee. Even if I'm just born as an ant in the house of your devotee, I want to be around the devotees. See, I don't want to lose track of this devotional service. A pure devotee does not pray to the Lord for liberation from this material bondage. Actually, the pure devotee never thinks that he is fit for liberation. Considering his past life and his mischievous activities, he thinks he is fit to be sent to the lower regions of hell. If in this life I am trying to become a devotee, this does not mean that in my many past lives I was 100% pious. Think of what he's saying here. If in this life I am trying to become a devotee, don't become puffed up and think, wow, just look at me. I'm a devotee of the Lord. I'm performing devotional service. So that means that in my last life I was pure. Doesn't even mean that you were pious. It means that you were fortunate to come in contact with a devotee of Krishna. It's through the mercy of the Lord. In this life, I'm trying to become a devotee. This does not mean that in my past lives I was 100% pious. That is not possible. A devotee, therefore, is always conscious of his real position. Only by his full surrender to the Lord, by the Lord's grace, are his sufferings made shorter. Only by your full surrender to the Lord and by the Lord's grace are your sufferings made shorter. Doesn't mean that you work harder or you have more money. It means by the grace of the Lord. You've attracted the grace of the Lord by your sincerity, your sincere endeavor. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, surrender unto me and I will give you protection from all kinds of sinful reaction. No one cometh to the Lord that's not sinful. We're all sinful. I think the Bible says all have sinned and come short of the gracious glory of the Lord. Doesn't it say like that? So that's our position. How can we be proud or puffed up? We're very sinful. The most sinful thing is to forget the Lord and start to behave as if the Lord doesn't even exist, or that he only exists in church once in a while when I go there on Sunday. This is also Kanishta type thinking. If I want to do service for God, I have to go to church on Sunday. I go to church on Sunday, I may tidy up a bit, and I throw some money in the plate when they pass it by. Rest of the time I'm on my own. That's not very high-level thinking. A devotee always prays, for my misdeeds may I be born again and again. But my only prayer is that I may not forget your service. That's all. This is it in a nutshell. This is what we're begging Krishna for. My dear Lord, please I want two things from you. Please let me always remember you. And please never let me forget you. Those two things go together. My prayer is, let me always remember you and never forget you. That's the prayer. If you give me that, Krishna, I'll give you anything. I'm surrendered. I'll do anything. I just pray that I don't forget you. If I always remember you, then everything I'm doing, I'm performing unflinching devotional service. And I'm not asking for anything in return. I'm thinking I don't deserve anything in return. Now, we can all agree, we can understand, that's a pretty advanced stage. Because it's kind of tough for me to say to God, hey, God, I don't want anything from you. Boy, that's tough. All through our pious lives, whatever piety we've had, we've realized that if I want something good, it comes from God. The advanced stages of pure devotional service means that I'm not asking you for anything, Krishna, except always remember you, never forget you. Therefore, I will perform loving devotional service, unflinching. So the devotee has that much mental strength. And he prays to the Lord, may I be born again and again, but let me be born in the home of your pure devotee so that I may again get a chance to develop myself. So this is the prayer of the devotee. I want to be born in the house of a devotee. If I can be born in the house of a Brahmin, a pure devotee, then that next time from birth I'll take off remembering you, see, and developing my Krishna consciousness. Now you're probably wondering, God, am I ever going to get out of this place? Is that what I should do? Should I go to Krishna and say, let me be born again and again in this place? And you're thinking, I'm asking you for that, but I don't really want that. I want to get out of here. For now, Prabhupada said, for now, it's good that you want to go to Goloka Vrindavan. It's good that you want out of this place. Fix your mind on it. I want you, Krishna. Be lusty for it. Beg for it, Krishna. I not only want to always remember you, but I want you. I want to come home. I want to come home and get into your embrace. For now, focus on that. Somewhere along the way, you may start to think, now that I can remember Krishna, then I can remember Krishna wherever I am. So the material world isn't as big of a threat as it used to be. Now, of course, Krishna is going to take you back home, back to Godhead, as soon as possible, or as soon as he wants to. He may have some use for you in this material world as his servant, you see, or not. He may want to take you back home. More than likely, there's a strong chance that all of you will take your birth on a planet where Krishna is performing his earthly activities. See? And you get to participate with Krishna. You'll be one of his associates, a gopi, cowherd boy, whatever, you see. You get to experience this. You see, from there you go to Goloka Vrindavan. You get to see Krishna kill the demons and experience this miraculous appearance of the Lord in the material world. What a great boon that would be, huh? So,
Jivananda,
yeah.
real quick.
Yeah.
I had a thought recently that it seems like sometimes being born in the West, being a Western devotee, that sometimes it feels like the odds are so stacked against us that I was thinking myself recently, like, man, if only I could have been born in a devotee family amongst Brahmins. Would that be faulty thinking or faulty logic to how should I put this? Because we want to go back to Krishna and we want to go back to Goloka Vrindavan ultimately. But is it faulty thinking to think, okay, well, I might have to take another birth. I hope that can be in a family of devotees. Maybe it almost seems like, well, that's like second best or something, but actually it could be a really good thing. So, yeah, could you comment on that?
Well, yeah. Excellent. This is an excellent subject matter. I'm really glad you brought this up. Let's take, for instance, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was born in the family of devotees. His father, Gaura Mohandes, pure devotee of the Lord. in their home, they had a nice temple room, nice Krishna deities. And he always taught Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, always from birth. He was chanting and learned how to play the drums when he was a young boy, and the harmonium. And this carried with Prabhupada all of his life. So this is a very pious birth, to be born into a devotee family. There's nothing second class about that whatsoever. What does it matter? If you are always remembering Krishna from birth, what does it matter if you're in this material world? You may be in this material body, but your world is spiritualized. Your body is spiritualized because you use this body only for service to Guru and Krishna. The words that come out of your mouth, the thoughts that happen in your mind, they're all from birth. You've been trained to have spiritual thoughts, spiritual conceptions, see, spiritual logic, free from the modes. You see, living in a world of transcendence. So I question whether or not this type of devotee born in the family of devotees is actually in the material world. You see what I mean? You're not in material consciousness, that's for sure. And so it could be said, oh no, yes, you are here. You're in this material world. But are you in material consciousness? Are you that conscious of this material world? Because you're living in transcendental consciousness. So the pure devotee knows that there is danger in this material world. That's a fact. But they're not as disturbed by what's going on in the material world. They're not as disturbed as other people. It's like in World War II, the Japanese were going to bomb Calcutta. This is, I think, 1939, maybe 1940. And so many people were leaving Calcutta. And so they thought, let's go out into the countryside. Let's get away from Calcutta because there may be some bombings. So they asked Prabhupada, Abi Babu, are you going out in the country? Are you going with us? We're going to go to Navadvip. And Prabhupada's reply is, let's go on Harinam. If we don't stay here and preach in Calcutta, then, and if we don't do Harinam, then the people may be much more likely to take shelter of Krishna in our absence. So the bombs may hit us, but probably they won't. They might, you see. And as it turned out, Prabhupada knew the whole city wasn't going to be decimated. And he wasn't afraid. So now, don't confuse this. Some people may say, well, so when the government says we should shut down, maintain social distancing, should we all go on Harinam? Absolutely not. Because there is a clear and present danger that if you go out and associate with people that are sick, you will get sick. And if you get sick, you could die, therefore ending your devotional service. So the local government, the scientific government, and the doctors and scientists have said, this is what we're doing. It's like, I'll give you, for instance, I forget the year, but I think it was in Dallas. Prabhupada had come, is either in Dallas or New York. Prabhupada had come into the United States. And so the devotees hadn't seen him for quite a while. And so they're all gathered around this one big area, and they're having kirtan. And Prabhupada is sitting there on a nice pelican that they had for him. They had garlands on Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was the center of attention. Many devotees are around. And one of the airport officials noticed that because the devotees were occupying this area, It was difficult for the passengers to get through and go on to their flights and change flights. And so this airport employee comes into the room and says, all Hare Krishna devotees should move to the next room. Who do you think was the first one that got up to move? Srila Prabhupada. He got up immediately. He's a Hare Krishna devotee. The authorities had said all Hare Krishna devotees should move to the next room. Prabhupada followed the instruction. He didn't say, but if I go in there, I don't want to do that. And I have every right to stay. He didn't say that. No. The authorities are saying, you should do this. And so Prabhupada followed immediately. He got up. And when he went, all the other devotees went into the other room with him. So this is an example. And you can see the RGBC, the leadership of ISKCON, they are following what the CDC and the WHO and the local, state, and federal authorities are saying. The GBC are saying, follow it to the letter. Do what they say. Don't break the law. Don't be a fool. You're not a doctor. You know, you can't tell if you're going to. How would any of us know? Are there any doctors online? I don't know of any. So, Steph, you're not a doctor, are you? No. Carmen, are you a doctor? So anyway, my point is none of us are doctors. So we have to take the authority of doctors. And please take the authority of authorized doctors. There are doctors who really are trained and understand these things, and stay away from the speculative people. Oh, why? Because your health and your life is at stake. See? So don't get your advice off the internet. Get your advice from somebody who's got a diploma hanging on their wall, okay? Somebody that actually earned it. That's only wise. So I pull that in because, hey, Joe Romero, Hare Krishna, Bhakta Joe. Who is this? Karen Young? Hare Krishna.
Hey.
Thanks for joining. Wow, good to see you, Joe.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Oh, Ranga. Karen, how are you? All right, it's good to see all of you. Anyway, enough of that. I just wanted to take some time to point out, we follow authority. What kind of authority do we follow? We follow the authority that's worth following. I want to know who knows for sure. Even if it's your car, you know, if you're going to get your car fixed, if you've got I've got a Dodge van. I feel most comfortable having a Dodge dealer work on my van. Now, is that silly? I think the Dodge people know more about fixing that vehicle than anybody else, because they've gone through a whole training of how to work on Chrysler products. Now, there are some things like maybe changing brakes or buying tires or minor things that I would let anybody take care of. But if it's something important, I feel more comfortable letting somebody take care of it that I know who has the knowledge to take care of it. Okay? So you should feel this way with your health. Who has the most knowledge? Not who is the better speculator or the better marketer. So All right. Are there any questions before I move along? Joe and Taryn, we were talking about about how the devotee doesn't beg God for promotion to heaven. It may come, but we ask him, please just let me show my love to you. Just give me an opportunity to show you that I love you. And we want that so badly that we're not thinking that if I do this, if I show you how much I love you, that you're going to give me promotion to heaven. You know, that's kind of like quid pro quo. My dear Lord, if I scratch your back, I want you to scratch mine. So if I give you this devotional service, then send me to heaven. All right, that's very pious. But it's not pure devoted love. The real prize is, my dear Lord, I just want to show my love for you. And I'll do that wherever you send me. And since you guys didn't...
I have a quick question, Gurudev.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I guess it's kind of a esoteric type question. So you had mentioned
I'll give you an esoteric answer.
You had mentioned that, you know, most likely you had said that the devotee in this world goes to a world where Krishna is present on the planet and associates with Krishna in his pastimes. So, you know, in reading, you know, Krishna's pastimes, you find a lot of devotees are suffering from great separation from Krishna, like the gopis when he leaves to Mathura, and, you know, different stories where there's devotees suffering because of absence of Krishna, and that's described as transcendental, ecstatic suffering. You know, separation from Krishna, love and separation is, you know, described as ecstatic and amazing. So my question is that in Goloka Vrindavan, is that same separation from Krishna at times or in certain leelas present, or are you being able to associate with Krishna all the time?
Both. You get to associate with Krishna all the time, but sometimes he may be walking with you in the forest and he may hide from you. Just to see your love for him burn. It ignites. Krishna, where are you? You know, he does that to Radharani. He'll not be present and cause her distress. And then when her love starts to burn for him, he appears and embraces her. So he will do this with you too. You see, this eternal love of Godhead is going to have so many facets. You see, you'll be walking with the Lord, you'll be eating with the Lord, singing with the Lord, dancing with the Lord, and he may hide from you. He may cause you some temporary distress. This isn't the kind of material distress. See, this isn't like material. This makes you think of him even more. When I'm with him and I look for him and he's not there, immediately I'm burning for him. I want him so bad, you see. Then he appears. Krishna likes to do this. This is one of his loving pastimes.
May I say something?
Please do.
Hi, I'm a conscious and spiritual love leader. And so within this, I'm also an energy healer. And I've recently come back to spirituality, and I've come back to prayer, and really starting to use these modalities within my sessions. And because of that, I call upon spiritual guides, gods and goddesses and higher powers and everything like that in my session to help heal my clients. And it's been interesting, the transformations I've had since coming back to these higher sources of power.
You
and
say
how much
coming
love
back.
that they can give.
You say coming back. Where are you coming back from?
So I have been on a really long journey for a while where I didn't love myself or love my life, as I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. And so this year was the first year where I actually broke through a lot of things for myself. And
Yeah.
I merged into someone. And that's when I started believing more, and I started praying more, and I started coming back to the simple form of love.
Yeah. You're on the right path, and that can mature. It's just like if I'm wanting something, let's say I'm sitting down and I'm eating, and I realize I need some salt. And I just say, I need salt. Please give me salt. But there's nobody there in the room. I need salt. I want salt. You see? But if I can say to some particular person, my dear, my beloved, you see your beloved there, someone that you love and they love you. And you say, oh, my sweet, could you give me some salt? And that person says, yes, my beloved, here you go. Now that is complete. Prayer is a request. I'm asking. If I'm not asking anyone in particular, I'm what they say nowadays, I'm putting it out to the universe. When I hear that from people, I always like to say, please tell me what's out there. Rocks. Lots of rocks. Some of them are very big rocks. But I don't know about you, but I've never had very good luck getting a rock to do anything for me, even if it's a very, very big rock. I know of places in different parts of the world where there are some really big rocks, big as mountains. And I actually tried that. You know, my dear gigantic rock, please do this for me. And it just kind of sat there and looked at me. So my point is that if I'm going to pray, I should direct my prayer at someone who can actually answer my prayer, not something or some concept or some belief, someone. So who is the one that's most likely to hear, answer with love, analyze what you said with love, and give you? So that would be the source of everything. There is a source from which everything cometh. Even scientists say everything came from a big bang. So everybody's on the same page that there is a source to everything. If you're beyond the material conception, then there is a creator, there is a mind, there is a personality of Godhead, and that's the source of everything. So if I pray to God, if I'm going to do that, it would help if I knew exactly who God was. So if I direct my prayers to God, and I know exactly who God is, I have a much better chance of getting an answer. So if I want help from God, and there is a wonderful prayer that we can all pray that will get God's attention, regardless of who you think God is or what you think God is. If you pray this prayer, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you pray like that, you get his attention. And that's a wonderful prayer that's simply saying, my dear Lord, please engage me in your loving devotional service. Please give me something that I can do for you to demonstrate my love for you. So, and if you want help along your spiritual path, then you would be best served if you proceeded that way. Otherwise, there's not enough definition. And I see a lot of people that don't have enough definition in their plans. You're on the right track. I can see that you're definitely a spiritual person. But It's like if you go to a doctor and the doctor needs to do some operation on you. Well, a doctor has training and he has a definite plan of action. He knows, I'm going to remove your gallbladder and do this and that. He knows that he's got a plan. But if you go to a doctor and that doctor says to you, I'm going to feel for you and I'm going to heal you. Well, have you ever done this before? No, but I know I can. And okay, maybe that person can help you. I don't want to paint a dark picture, but I've been on this planet more than 7 decades. And I've been all over India many, many years. And I've met all kinds of potent personalities there. And for these kind of people who are just going to pull something out of their sleeve, I've just never seen it happen. Now, there are people who have some mystic potencies. None of us should waste our time wanting to develop mystic potencies. The greatest mystic potency of all is to not have to take another birth. Wouldn't that be wonderful if I could go beyond on the other side of birth and death? That would be amazing if I could conquer death. I conquer death by conquering birth. I don't want to go take another birth. If I take another birth, I'm going to have to experience another death. So I want to read the verse for you, Joe, since you came in a little late. And Taryn, did we lose Taryn?
She had said she had a client come in, so she had to run off. She put it on the message board.
Oh, okay. All right.
We heard most of what you were saying to her, though.
Yeah. The verse, Joe, is, thus the devotee who worships me, this is Lord Kapila, Krishna saying this, thus the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this world with wealth, children, cattle, home, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death. So this is true mysticism. It's not material mysticism. There are people I've seen in India that can take a little something in their hand like a pebble and turn it into something else. And then they'll beg you for 100 rupees because they did some magic. And I always wonder, well, why don't you turn that pebble into 100 rupees? Oh, if you're so magic. That's carnival stuff, circus stuff. We're not interested in that. I may learn how to turn some material thing into another material thing. And then I still have to deal with death, which means I'm going to have to deal with another birth, which means I'm going to have to deal with another death, which means I'm going to have to deal with another birth, and so on. I want off of the merry-go-round. That is true mysticism.
I have a
Hate this. Go ahead. Yeah.
question at that point. If so, say we put in a lot of work in this lifetime and we don't quite make the threshold to not reincarnate again. Is it going to be easier to find that path next time around, or do we have to wander again through so we might find
Question. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, you never lose what you gain. The advancement that you make in spiritual advancement, spiritual consciousness, you never lose that. So even if you don't make it out this time, then you will be born into the family of devotees next time. And you start off from the beginning. You have, that's if you lose. That's what the loser gets. If you don't make it all the way out of here, you got to take another birth. You start off in the family of devotees. An exalted birth. It could even be not just a family of devotees, but a family of exalted aristocratic devotees. You see? That's if you lose. So, you know, it's kind of like, God, you can't lose. So, excellent question. No, you don't have to wander around. All of you, you're finished. It's over for you. Okay? You've heard enough. You've tasted enough Krishna consciousness. You've chanted enough that you're finished. I was in Mayapur in 1976, not very far from Prabhupada's Vyasa-san when he was giving a class. And I heard him say, for one who's chanted the holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, sincerely, even one time, he's to be considered a liberated soul. One time, one mantra, sincerely, you're a liberated soul. And that doesn't mean that you are going to definitely go back. But what if I could guarantee you that in another 100 births, you would be liberated and go back home, back to Krishna? Would you like that? Would you take that deal?
Yeah.
I'd take it in a heartbeat. I mean, even if I could get a guarantee of 1 million,
Yeah.
guarantee from Krishna, 1 million births, 100,000, 10. You see, so in other words, you're there, except because of you associating on the level that you already have, you're liberated. You're not. You don't have birth after birth after birth. Unless you're on some mission for Krishna. Krishna may say to you, hold on. Chris, you're not going anywhere. You're my dear beloved. I need you to stay here and harvest souls. And what are you going to say?
Can't say no to Krishna.
That's right. I mean, it's like an offer you can't refuse, you know. So yeah, if Krishna looked at you and said, you know, I am so happy with your service of preaching. Would you please stay? Would you please stay and preach? Why? Wouldn't you jump at it? Say, Krishna, would that? Then, but you can negotiate with him. You can say, Krishna, yeah, that's wonderful, but I beg you one thing. Don't let me ever forget you. Now that I'm looking at you, don't let me forget your beautiful face. And as a matter of fact, let me see you everywhere I look. Can you do that for me, Krishna? And that'll help me go serve you. I can go back and but I need to see you and be with you. Even though I'm in the material world, would you do that for me? You can negotiate with him. You're going to be his preacher, you're going to have to remember him anyway. So yeah, all of you guys are finished. You're, as they say, you're out of here. It's closing. It's checkout.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Just I guess regarding we were talking about mystic potencies and cities and such. So my question, I mean, not that I certainly don't aspire to have any cities, not for me at all. But being a Christian, growing up as a Christian, you know, when you're in church, you know, you hear Jesus walked on water, Jesus turned water into wine, and you hear all this stuff. And then when you go around people who are been in Indian culture, it's, you know, that guy just turned water into wine over there. That guy just walked on water. So you hear that it's a common thing, you know, these mystic cities. But if, for instance, in any case, you know, in a what if situation, they were used in Krishna's service, like, you know, I think, you know, my thought is that Lord Jesus was preaching to people so fallen that he had to demonstrate his, you know, position in some way, shape, or form, and use those in Krishna's service. Is that unpious, or was when he was doing that, was that wrong? Was that a carnival act? Can you speak on that a bit?
No, you got to consider time, place, and circumstance. Like, for instance, these people that Jesus was preaching to, he had to give commandments to. One of those one of those commandments is don't kill each other. Right? Don't covet your neighbor's wife. I mean, in other words, they were uncivilized people. When you're talking to an assembly of devotees, you already assume that they know not to kill each other or to sleep with each other's wives or so many it's like I said before, if you know trigonometry, well, I would expect you already know 2 + 2 is 4. But Jesus had to teach these people, hey, stop killing. You're killing animals. You're killing each other. You're coveting each other's wives. And what are some of the other commandments? I can't recall any of them. You see where I'm going. So he had to teach them. He's trying to bring them approaching the platform of yam. Yam in yoga, there's yam, niyam. But the first step is yam. Yam means, hey, become a decent person. Develop some civilized thinking. See? So, fortunately, a lot of people, most people that we're coming in contact with today, they're already above that level, all right? It's like back in the 70s, everybody that I knew of that became a devotee was used to eating meat. See, now a lot of people, I don't know how many, but a lot of the people who are approaching Krishna consciousness, they've already transcended that. They're already vegetarians or vegans or whatever when they walk in the door. So you don't have to spend a lot of time hammering on them to stop supporting the slaughter of animals. They already get that. You see what I mean? So they're starting off at a little bit higher level. Lord Jesus Christ he didn't have a very good crowd to preach to. I mean, they ended up killing him. See? It doesn't say a lot for that time and that place and circumstance. And it shows the incredible mercy that he had for appearing there at that time, place, and circumstance. Incredible mercy. Who would go into an environment like that and try to save them? You see? Who would do that? This is incredible compassion that Lord Jesus Christ had. Indescribable compassion. So let me finish up this. Let me read a couple of paragraphs to finish up this purport, and then we'll have some more discussion if you like. Prabhupada says, a pure devotee is not anxious to elevate himself in his next birth. He has already given up that sort of hope. In any life in which one is born as a householder or even as an animal, one must have some children, some resources, or some possessions. But a devotee is not anxious to possess anything. He's not lusting for anything. That doesn't mean he will not have a wife and possessions. See? We've seen so many devotees. Srila Prabhupada was a grihasta, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was grihasta, so it's not bad to have possessions. There are some people who say that they are wrong. It's wrong to live your life to accumulate them. If that's the purpose of your life, then you're just in material consciousness. And good luck with that. He is satisfied with whatever is obtainable by God's grace. He is not at all attached to improving his social status or improving the status of education of his children. He is not neglectful, he is dutiful, but he does not spend too much time on the upliftment of temporary household or social life. He fully engages in the service of the Lord, and for other affairs, he simply spares as much time as absolutely necessary. So he puts as much time as is absolutely necessary into developing career, making money, mating, having a house, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. See? Only as is absolutely necessary. Mating is not Maya. One is a devotee, one mates as a devotee. If you're mating just for sense gratification, then you're mating in the modes of material nature. So mating is not bad. Sleeping isn't bad. Eating isn't bad. But for the devotee, he eats, sleeps, and he mates and he defends as an offering. And therefore, he typically has better relationships, eats better food, he doesn't oversleep or undersleep, and he doesn't spend an over amount of time defending. Okay? That doesn't mean he doesn't defend. You see, the devotee knows that he probably will have to defend himself from time to time. He's okay with that. We're not looking for a skirmish, but we will protect ourselves and we will protect our loved ones. We will defend. Such a pure devotee does not care for what is going to happen in the next life or in this life. He does not care even for family, children, or in society. This doesn't mean that he doesn't love his family, children, or society. It means that that's not his definition, his reason for being. I live to have children, I live to have a family, and I live to have a society. No, I live to serve Krishna and Guru. And I have a family, I have children, and I have a society, but that's not the object of my existence. The object of my existence, I'm trying to purify my family, my children, and my society and get them to become devotees too. You see? So sometimes people say, like, we shouldn't want children or be part of society. That's not what's being said here. He fully engages in the service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that without the knowledge of the devotee, the Lord arranges for his devotee to be immediately transferred to his transcendental abode just after leaving his body. Wow. Without your knowledge, Krishna will he'll make the arrangement for you to immediately be transferred to his transcendental abode to come home with him after you leave your body. In other words, it may not be something that you're planning. You know, you're thinking, I'm gonna serve Krishna wherever. It may be here, it may be hell, it may be heaven, it could be whatever. I just want to serve Krishna. Unbeknownst to you, Krishna has made the arrangement for you to come back home, back to Godhead. More than likely, that will be the case. Some people may stay here to serve Krishna here. And that's okay. It's going to be rare. For instance, the Guru makes the promise that he will return to the material world to get his disciples. If you don't make it out, he'll come back to get you. Now, when he comes back, he's going to make more disciples. So then he may have to come back to get some of them. And then while he's doing that, he's going to make some more. So when do you get out of here? Who knows? That's not, I mean, that's up to Krishna. Let Krishna deal with that. I am just a servant. It doesn't mean that you have to think, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of here. Krishna's going to keep me here. If you're totally devoted to your service, it doesn't matter where you do it. So, but you don't have to feel, for right now, want to go home, want to go back to Krishna. Okay? At the time of death, let him sort that out. After quitting his body, he does not go into the womb of another mother. The ordinary common living entity after death is transferred to the womb of another mother according to his karma or his activities. Take another type of body. But as far as the devotee is concerned, he is at once transferred to the spiritual world in the association of the Lord. That is the Lord's special mercy. How is it possible? How it is possible is explained in the following verses. Because he is all powerful. The Lord can do anything and everything. He can excuse all sinful reactions. He can immediately transfer a person to Vaikuntha Loka. That is the inconceivable power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is favorably disposed to the pure devotees. I'd like to point out that if you end up staying here, you will still feel as if you're in Vaikuntha Loka. You'll be engaged in Krishna's service, a special agent to harvest the fallen conditions. There is nothing that you'll ever taste that is as sweet as helping someone go back to Godhead. That is the topmost. If you can help some little bit, help somebody go back to Godhead, spread this. Krishna says it in the Bhagavad Gita. No one is as dear to me as he who spreads this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. And he says, never will there ever be one as dear to me. So if that ends up to be your service, it's not like it's signing your death warrant that I can't get out of here. No, it's not like that. Because you get to taste that nectar of pleasing Krishna in the greatest way. So, but Prabhupada is closing this purport here by saying, but as far as the devotee is concerned, he is at once transferred to the spiritual world in the association of the Lord. That is the Lord's special mercy. So, are there any questions, comments, complaints, or criticisms?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. So through just doing mantra, I'm still keep having very vivid spiritual experiences with just mantra alone. I keep getting the message to be a healer and to help people remove the traumas that they have incurred. Is that the same as karma? You think that message is the same as karma?
Karma is related, but and that reminds me, I was going to answer your messenger. You asked me that on Messenger. There are different levels of healing. See, you ever had a toe fungus? You know, all right, but you could have a fungus. The fungus gets up under your toenail, and it looks really good. You know, so somebody could come to you with a toe fungus, and you could say, "Hey, I've got the thing, some tea tree oil, you know, and it'll kill the fungus." 90% of the time, tea tree oil will kill a toe fungus. Sometimes you've got to actually use some other stuff. You got to get heavy with it. So, and I'm sure if you could cure someone's toe fungus, that would make you feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you know, because they come back to you in a few weeks and their nail it's healthy. Well, look at that. You got a healthy, good-looking toe. Now you can wear sandals this summer because you don't have that terrible toe fungus. And the person's happy. Thank you. Oh, boy, you're great. And they'll recommend you to all their friends. So what if you could do that with someone who had an ailing prostate? That would be great too, wouldn't it? Someone, now they don't have to get up every 40 minutes at night. You see what I mean? So there's so many different things. Well, what is the ultimate healing? When we're talking about healing, what is the big time healing? Big time healing is to heal your consciousness. The defect that you have in your consciousness, not you, everyone, is that they are this body. I am this body. If I am this body, I will die. I don't want to die. That causes me all types of suffering. Just like toenail fungus or a prostate will cause a certain amount of struggle, suffering. So, but the biggest suffering that people are experiencing right now is the misconception that they are their body and that they're part of this world. They're part of this universe. And they even want to pray to the universe. They want to put their prayers and their wishes out to the universe. You see, that is so unfortunate. It's pitiful. Or as this one devotee that I know says, pitiable. That's pitiable to see one. So the greatest healing is to get them to realize who you are. Tara mentioned learning to love yourself. How are you going to do that? You don't know who you are. I mean, let's say that there is a lady, and I'm going to tell you that she's a very attractive lady. She lives in Boston, and her name is Becky Smith. Could you fall in love with her? You don't know who Becky Smith is. You see?
Yeah.
And I tell, oh, but she's really great. So unless I introduce you to Becky Smith, or at least get you on Facebook, you're not going to, your love for her is not going to go anywhere. How do we love ourselves if you don't know yourself? You see? So this practice of bhakti yoga is getting to know God. As you get to know God, you get to know yourself. When you find out who you are, something about yourself, it'll blow your mind. Well, you're beyond lovable. You see, you're far beyond lovable. You're loved by the source of love. What does he see when he looks at you? Not this body, but when he sees you, the soul. What does the source of love and beauty see when he looks at you? That is healing, my friend. Not this, okay, you've got to be a better person, try to be honest, try to be happy and kind, and then you'll appreciate yourself and you'll love yourself. Baloney. That is yada, yada, yada. It's all kind of true. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if you can find someone who is lost and they don't know who is God, they don't know who they are. They're thinking they are this body. They're thinking, if I am my body, I'm part of the material elements, because this body is going to turn into the material elements when it rots, when I leave it, which means I am part of the universe, which means this universe is my home. This is all garbage. This is all material knowledge. This is lack of real knowledge. If you can give true knowledge to someone, you have healed everything. If you give someone God consciousness and get them to understand who they are, they're eternally a fragmental part and parcel of God, then you've healed them from everything. They may still have a toenail fungus. They may not pay any attention to it. See what I mean? Of course, they probably will. Say, now that you've taught me who I am and who God is, I still need to do something with this stupid toenail fungus. So far, far above, you're on the right track, having the desire to heal. That is very spiritual. But learning, what do I mean by healing? What do I actually mean? I have the desire to do something, and I believe that it's manifesting in the form of me healing someone. What does that actually mean? You see? And if we analyze that, we may realize Krishna is wanting me to heal the fallen conditioned souls that are walking this planet with me. See? And just like a doctor, if he's going to be a healer, he has to go learn how. He has to become empowered by knowledge. So the same is true for the spiritual healer. He has to become empowered with knowledge. And so we approach someone who has this knowledge, who can give you this knowledge. And he got it from someone who had it. We've got it from someone who has it, all the way back to God himself. So you get plugged into this conduit of supernatural knowledge, rather than just material mishmash. You see, the material, let me make you feel good about your stuff, is only temporary. If I can't teach you who you are and who God is and what your relationship is with God, then I have really not done much for you, except make you feel warm and fuzzy about you and maybe some people around you for a little while. And you may feel warm and fuzzy about the world, and then along comes a virus like COVID-19, and all of a sudden I'm all distressed again, you see? So if you can get spiritual healing, you don't lose that. A virus may come, a war may come, a depression may come, so many things. I can tell you stories of what I've experienced in my life of things that have come and gone. See? And I'm still here. I've had the stress, but I'm still here. I still have this knowledge, and I'm still trying to give it to other people. That, my friend, is what you're desiring, because that is your nature as a living entity, as a soul, part and parcel of Krishna. When you see, when the living entity, the soul, comes in contact with someone who is suffering illusion, it's a natural reaction for you to want to get them out of illusion. You know, I mean, what if you sat down in a park and there was someone on a bench nearby, and they're screaming, "Oh my God, my hair's on fire! My hair's on fire!" And you could clearly see there's no fire. There is no fire. So they're kind of crazy, kind of an illusion. What if you could get that person to realize there's nothing to worry about? It's okay. Let me give you the truth. You're not on fire. And the person would look at you and say, "Thank you. I'll never forget that. You took away my craziness." So this is what we, this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, this is what we're trying to do. Huh?
I was going to ask if I could make a comment on that.
Please.
You, Gurudev. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel your question, Joe. I just thought that was a really good question, because before I really was invested in Krishna consciousness, I was really into energetic healing, living in Sedona, and I had some experiences with powerful, subtle body experiences where I would feel good for a certain time, maybe let one thing go, but there's 100 other things that are making me suffer. So when I came to Krishna consciousness, I had this realization that all the suffering that we have, all the trauma that we've experienced, and all of us, a lot of people have gone through pretty bad trauma. It was related to our bodies and our circumstance with our bodies. It's circumstantial. So the healing is just circumstantial. It's healing a certain circumstance, and there's always going to be infinitely more circumstances. So when I started to chant and I realized, started to read Prabhupada's books, I had this realization that God's the ultimate healer. And if you can actually remove yourself from that circumstance, that relative reality of suffering and pain, then the relative suffering is gone, and you actually feel okay in yourself, and you feel great, you feel wonderful, you feel healed of all of that. And it's not something that's, I used to say, oh, I'm healing after my father died. I'm healing. And all it took was the realization, or to some degree of realization by Krishna's grace, to say, I'm healed, because that was a circumstantial thing. We're eternal souls. My father's eternal. I'm eternal, and no one's gone, and I'll be okay because I'm eternal. This is just one circumstance. So that realization is the most powerful form of healing, because it allows us to deal with all the other circumstantial sufferings and for them to be healed. Anyways.
So that's an excellent explanation, Dr. Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Gurudev.
You are positively going to be a substantial preacher. I think you have some good understanding and a gift in that area. So please try to save people, become a pure devotee and make people around you pure devotees. I know you can do that. So, and you bring up an excellent point. It's like a circumstantial healing. It's like you can go into a room full of people and there's someone there like Tony Robbins. Now, I like Tony Robbins, so I'm not picking on him. And he can make practically everybody in that room feel like they're walking on air. I've seen these guys. I know some of them. And they can make you feel just like, But is it anything real? It's like you said, after a certain period of time, you're going to need to go to another guy. I don't know if any of you know of this guy Zig Ziglar. Does anybody know of Zig Ziglar? He was the guy.
No.
He was the guy that Tony Robbins and people nowadays learned it all from. There was also Dale Carnegie. You see, I've been on this planet for over 7 decades. None of this crap is new. What Tony Robbins does is not new. As a matter of fact, Zig Ziglar was much better at it. There's another guy that was very, very popular. Stephen Covey. What's his name? Stephen Covey. He was also very, very good at these materialistic, feel good, heal it all kind of consciousness. But Zig was one of the best. He was probably the best. And before him, Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie, he wrote the book, How to Make Friends and Influence People. I don't know if you haven't read that book, it's a very valuable book to know. It's some basics on how to establish relationships and maintain relationships.
How to win. How to win friends, I believe.
Yeah, how to win friends and influence people. I think that's it, yeah. Back in the 60s or 70s or whatever, that was the people in business swore by that. And it's a very good book. Stephen Covey's got some very good things. Tony Robbins has some very good things. Zig was fantastic. None of these guys can give you Godhead. I've sat in rooms with people that could put forth some multi-level marketing scheme, and everybody in the room, 1,000 people, would walk out of there feeling like they're going to become rich. And not too awful long later, they're all looking for something else. They can make them. So there are processes to get you materially motivated. See, they're just material. They don't get you spiritually motivated. And some of those things that they will stay with you because you can use some of these material processes in a spiritual motivation. Some of the things that Dale Carnegie taught, and some of the things that Stephen Covey taught, and Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins, some of those methods and some of the statements they made can actually help you in your preaching. They
Can I
help.
say something?
Yeah, please.
I feel like you're picking on me because
Oh.
I do a lot of business and I do read those books and I hear them because I feel, to be not fake, but I really do like helping people in the health aspect. And I don't feel like I'm 100% where I'm like, hey guys, come in, listen to this. I do sometimes talk about a little bit Krishna, but not like super directly. I try to combine it when people come, like I'm super hardcore Christian, and I try to understand them because of my dad. And we be able to come to at least an agreement, and we're like sync at least, but I don't try to push it or anything. But so yeah, I do recommend supplements. I do recommend essential oils. I do my services because I do like to do that, and I do feel like
But there's a lot of that stuff that works. Ayurveda has all of these things that really and truly do work. Supplemental herbs. There's so many things. Does everything you hear about on the internet today work? Heck no. Positively no. But there are so many things, so many healing processes to heal the body. Aromatherapy really works. Does all of it that's being spread on the internet work? No. But there is a lot of it that really and truly works. This Ayurveda, Prabhupada said there are 3 things that kept him going. Daily massage, daily walk, and Ayurvedic medicine. Now, that doesn't mean concocted this and concocted that. It means the real, true, and tried things. So Prabhupada, even though he was elderly and he had diabetes, he traveled, went around the world 14 times, and he kept a very busy schedule. So he knew how to use herbs and things like that for his benefit, and diet. He knew when to diet and when to splurge, because he went to a lot of places where his disciples wanted to cook very nice for him. So he knew what to eat, when not to. And he stayed by that. So alternative medicine is Ayurveda is generally referred to as an alternative medicine. Alternative to what? Alternative to Western medicine. Prabhupada said Western medicine is very good. It is very good. That doesn't mean that all of Western medicine is very good, because they prescribe things that you really don't need. Just like all of aromatherapy, not all of it works, and not all of the diets you see work. There's so much that does not work. If you can find someone who truly knows Ayurveda, then they can heal you and keep you healthy. Ayurveda means knowledge of extending life. That's what it's for. It's part of the Vedas. Giri Rajwami, for many years, suffered. We thought we were going to lose him. He was very, very sick. And he went to an Ayurveda doctor in California, a very well-known doctor, and he healed him. He put him on a strict diet, not an internet diet, an Ayurvedic diet that comes from Shastra. And darned if it didn't work. And he's going like everything, you see. But for years, he had to struggle, and he had faith in the Ayurveda. And I've seen it happen to so many people. And I've also seen so many people struggle with things that really didn't do much for them. So, like I was saying before, consider the source. Someone gives you knowledge. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of curious. Where did you get this knowledge? I mean, that's just me. I'm an, let's see, how is it? Someone described me as an analytical analytic. I analyze, you know. In other words, I'm not that easily pushed over. Now, when I was in my teens and early 20s, I fell for a lot of stuff. But, and even then I was analytical. So I just want to know. You're telling me something, gee whiz, where did you get this? Well, I got it from Dr. Bob. Okay, who is he and where did he get it? You know, if someone tells me studies have shown, I always say, what studies? Who did the studies and under what circumstances did they do the studies before I just embrace it? That's me. I'm not saying that if you're not like me, that you're not right, okay? All of you've got to play it the way you feel it, you know, besides, if you're sold on other things, I can't unsell you on it anyway. And that's really not my duty. My duty is just to get you to embrace Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. Immediately as you make progress in spiritual life, these other things start to loosen, start to fall away. So I don't want to run down Tony Robbins. I like Tony Robbins. I think he does a lot of good. I don't want to run down aromatherapy, medical doctors. I've got to go to a doctor here very soon and get some tests. Do I have 100% faith in them? No. But I do have faith because I've seen it before. I've seen doctors do analysis of me, and Western doctors. In India, I have the good fortune of getting analyzed at Bhaktivedanta Hospital and getting a mixture of Ayurvedic treatment and at the same time Western treatment. And that can be extremely effective. So I don't know if that would fit into the term of alternative medicine. I don't even know what that is anymore. I'm assuming that Ayurvedic medicine is still considered alternative medicine.
It'll be
But I
more
don't
like
know.
more functional, if you want to say. If you wanna
Huh?
go. You could say a word functional, like everyone is saying it now these days. More functional.
Functional?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
if it
functional
functions.
medicine, meaning it's a mixture of natural and Western.
Yeah. The doctors at Bhaktivedanta Hospital know when to do this or to do that. Sometimes you may have some symptoms that it's actually too late for you to take an Ayurvedic cure. Ayurveda is a way of living. It's more preventative than anything, you see. Now, if you have something wrong with the body, and if it's advanced to a certain level, that means you lived a life of toxins and poor habits and whatever, and that problem that you have may have transcended the effects of Ayurvedic medicine. Or you might have to practice the Ayurveda style for so many decades for it to have an effect. So therefore they think, you know what, you need a prescription, and for this, you're gonna need some Western medicine. For something else, I can treat that Ayurvedically. And Ayurvedic medicine, from my experience, Ayurveda works. I've seen it work.
Hey, Gurudev,
Yeah.
it's 7:45. We can continue the conversation, of course, but I'd like to end it just because it's going to go on for too long. the recording. And then
I think we should shut it down. And but this is great. I'm glad that we have these nice discussions like this. We're about to run out of time, aren't we?
Well, we're not going to run out of time. I just want to stop the recording. We can continue to have these conversations once I stop the recording.
Okay. Yeah. I get you.
So,
all right.
I just want to say, you guys, thanks for all the discussion. If there's any final reflections on the verse that was discussed and some of the points that Gurudev touched on, I'd like to maybe end it on that note, and then we can end the recording. And then from there, we can continue discussing, anything you guys want after that. I mean, we don't have a time limit on the Zoom chat. It's just that for the sake of uploading our YouTube videos, if they get to a certain point, it gets really, really, really large file.
And nobody wants to watch it if it's that long.
Right, exactly. I'd like to keep these a little bit shorter if possible. So anyways,
all right.
Any final reflections on the verse, some of the things that were discussed tonight.
All right, I think you can.
Can I just say something real quick about what you're saying with the healing modalities? Is with a lot of what you said about the Ayurveda and the physical stuff. I think when you're talking, because there's other healing modalities that help address more like mental and emotional issues. I think those are really helpful. But they shouldn't just be an end in of themselves. There should be a goal where you're using this to heal yourself so that you can become a better devotee, basically.
Right.
But I do think that there are some really helpful things out there. I'm actually reading a book right now. It's called Complex PTSD. And we're all basically traumatized from this world in one way or another, from either our family or society or what. It can be so many different things. So I think it is helpful to kind of go back into our psyche and help address some of those some of the things that we have been wounded from, and that actually hinder us and keep us from becoming fully developed people and therefore better devotees. So that was just my 5 cents on that.
I fully agree.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that, Jesse, because I felt like that was really important to touch on. Because there's a lot of devotees that might be devotees, but they're dealing with a lot of subtle body stuff and they're not quite developed. So therefore their advancement is hindered by a lot of these things that are still there, that are not being addressed. And I think there's a place for all these things, but ultimately they're not an end in and of themselves, like you said.
Right.
You said that, because ultimately it's like Gurudev was saying, what's the ultimate? The ultimate is to go back home, back to Godhead, to become a devotee, to learn how to love Krishna. And that's really the goal. So all these things are facilitators to help us get to that point. And I think it's really important to see it that way. All these things are helping. So mind, body, soul, right? We got to keep the body in check, the mind, everything. And I think it's all good as long as it's taking you to the point where we can ultimately develop our Krishna consciousness, our love for God.
And that's true. That's a good way to put it. So long as it's taking you, if what I like to tell people sometimes is, if that's what you need to get you through,
right?
That's what you need to get you through the day or the night to make you feel okay with your attempts to feel better, to help you get back to where you can concentrate on Krishna, then I'm all for it. One thing that a lot of people, the medical, I know a lot of doctors and have for many, many years. And one thing that a lot of folks don't know now, it's kind of like a bit of a secret that the doctors keep from us, is the placebo effect. Now, the reason why they don't talk a lot about it is because they don't want you to figure it out. A large part of prescriptions are placebos. They've done extensive tests. The Harvard Medical has done tests on treating depression with St. John's wort, which is an herbal treatment, Prozac, and placebo. And they've had equal results on all of them. So in other words, if I tell you and convince you enough that this is going to take away your depression, on a large, tremendously high percentage of people, it works, because I got you to believe that it was going to work. You see? And so there are many people who are treated by the placebo effect, in that they may buy things or treatments or drugs or whatever, or herbs or whatever, and they're so convinced that they're going to work that they actually feel some improvement, at least for a while. I know I've been there. I've had the placebo effect work on me several times. As a matter of fact, I tried it when I'm getting some alternative treatment, or I don't do this so much anymore, or even a doctor treating me. I try to inject the placebo effect on me. Like, this is gonna work. Oh boy, this is gonna make me feel better. This is gonna make my heart work better. I just know it. And for a while, it sure does. And I realized that I really didn't. It didn't, you know. But see, so these are processes of the mind. Just processes of the mind. And we want to go above that. See, we don't want to work on just the mind. We want to take people's soul back to Godhead. So okay, let's pull the plug. It's getting late, and thank you all so much. Great discussion. Any closing statements or questions or criticisms, complaints?
Did we actually finish that report?
We did.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Guru Dave. It was a really amazing time tonight, discussion.
You guys are what make it amazing. I like it when you talk to me and keep your camera, or at least turn your cameras on for a while, because then I can see you and I can hear you and I can interface with you. And if I'm just looking at a bunch of just black squares with names and I can't see you or hear you, then I might as well be talking to a television or a box, or and I'm not good at that. There are many people who can look into a camera and just talk, and but when I see your beautiful faces, I can it was good, Joe. When I see your beautiful
Dave. Good, Dave, real quick. Mary Boris says hi. She's here hanging out with me.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Misses you. And
obeisances. Yeah.
She missed talking to you.
Oh, what a darling lady.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Let's wrap it up, crew. Thank you all so much. Stay healthy. Chant Hare Krishna. And let's go back to Godhead.
All right.
Let's go beyond birth and death. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.